My beloved child, stop right here, in this exact moment. Do not scroll away from this, because I saw your tears last night. I watched you sitting alone in the dark, struggling to breathe through the pain, while the rest of the world was comfortably fast asleep. You thought you were completely hidden, but heaven was paying absolute attention to your quiet pain. I am speaking directly to your exhausted soul right now. Your shoulders are tight, your mind is racing with endless worries. You have been carrying a massive weight for so long, and every single day you wake up and put on a brave face for the people around you. You smile for them, you solve their problems, because you are always the strong one. But inside you are barely holding on. I know exactly how tired you are, the kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling. Your thoughts simply will not stop. You give so much of yourself to make sure everyone else is okay, but when you need a shoulder to lean on, there is only a deafening silence. You wonder if anyone sees your effort. Last night was one of those breaking points. The pressure built up until you could not hold it back anymore. The tears fell completely silently because you did not want to wake anyone up, and you desperately wanted to avoid feeling like a burden to your family. You covered your mouth. You tried to muffle the sound of your own heartbreak. I saw that exact moment. You are completely safe here with me. You do not have to pretend anymore. Let the heavy armor fall to the ground. You do not need to be the unbreakable pillar right now. I have created this sacred space specifically for you to rest. So breathe out the heavy anxiety that has been suffocating your spirit for weeks. Nobody is asking anything of you here. When you cried last night, you thought your prayers were bouncing off an empty sky, and you felt completely abandoned by the world around you. But I was right there in the room with you. I collected every single tear that fell from your eyes. Not one drop of your sorrow was wasted. I held you close while you shivered in the dark. You take care of everything and everyone. You are the quiet anchor, holding your family together through the violent storms. But even a strong anchor gets pulled down by the relentless waves. You are allowed to be weak, my child. You are allowed to admit that you do not have all the answers. Your worth is not defined by how much you can endure. People look at you and they see someone who has it all figured out. They admire your unwavering strength, but they do not see the invisible scars you carry. They do not know about the betrayals that left you deeply wounded, and they never see how you forgave people who never even bothered to apologize. You swallowed your anger just to keep the peace. Being the bigger person has left you completely drained. You have poured your heart into relationships that gave absolutely nothing back in return, leaving you feeling like a hollow shell going through the motions. You feel utterly empty. The loneliness you feel in a crowded room is the heaviest burden of all. I see that deep isolation. But I want you to listen to me very carefully. The pain you felt last night was not a punishment. The shattering of your heart is not the end of your story. It is a profound spiritual surgery taking place behind the scenes, because I am carefully removing the toxic ties that have been poisoning your peace. Do not run away from this process. Those tears were a necessary release. They washed away the illusions you have been clinging to for survival. You are stepping into a massive transition right now. The enemy wants you to believe that you are simply falling apart, but the absolute truth is that your foundation is being beautifully and carefully remade. Your life is shifting. Take a slow and deep breath right now. Feel the tension leaving your jaw and your neck. Release the tight grip you have on your life. You have been trying to steer the ship through a massive hurricane all by yourself, but it is finally time to let go of the heavy wheel. Let me take control of the raging waters around you. There is a very specific reason why your heart broke open last night. Something massive had to be cleared out of your path. You call the sudden closing of that door a devastating loss, but I call it a divine and timely rescue from a trap you could not see. Stay here with me in this exact moment. I am about to show you the truth. You are a precious and refined vessel. The fire you are walking through right now is only purifying your spirit. It will not burn you down. The flames will only consume the heavy chains holding you back. So you must stop trying to figure out a tomorrow that is already safe in my hands. Rest your weary head on my shoulder today. I love you with an everlasting love. I know your real name. I know the deepest desires, You are too afraid to speak out loud, and I intimately know the quiet fears that keep you awake at 3 in the morning. Every single part of you is fully known and deeply cherished. You are never alone in this. The silence is filled with my grace. I am looking past the smile you showed the world today. It is a beautiful mask you carefully wear every single day. But I know the immense energy it takes to keep it from slipping. You force a loud laugh when your chest is literally aching with sorrow, and you walk through the crowded room hoping nobody notices your shaking hands. Most people around you easily believe the clever facade. They genuinely think you are doing perfectly fine. They do not see the moments when you retreat to your car. You sit behind the steering wheel in total silence. You grip the cold leather steering wheel very tightly, and you wonder how much longer you can keep up this exhausting performance before your mind completely breaks down under the heavy pressure. The isolation you feel in those quiet moments is completely overwhelming. I clearly see you sitting there all alone. You are the person everyone calls when their world falls apart. You drop everything to help them rebuild their lives. You listen closely to all of their endless complaints. But when your own world is silently collapsing around you, your phone never rings because they assume you do not need any help. You look at your contact list in despair. You realize there is no one to safely call. You feel deeply abandoned by the people you love. It hurts to realize you are surrounded by people but entirely unseen. The ones closest to you take your constant strength for granted. They simply assume you will always bounce back fast. They completely forget that even the strongest steel bends under continuous pressure, and your human heart is slowly cracking from carrying their emotional baggage. You desperately wish someone would look in your eyes. You want them to ask if you are okay. You hide your tears in the shower so the water washes away the evidence. You turn the volume up loudly on the radio. You do this so no one hears your quiet sobs. It is a terribly lonely way to navigate this life, and you do it because you are deeply afraid of becoming a massive burden to your family. You would rather suffer alone in the dark. You absolutely refuse to let anyone see your weakness. Your physical body is keeping a strict record of this emotional starvation. Your shoulders carry a heavy weight that no massage can ever relieve. The tight knots in your back are simply your unspoken worries. You wake up completely exhausted every single morning because your tired mind is fighting brutal battles all night long while the rest of the house sleeps. The heavy toll of being the strong one is catching up. You are finally running out of pure willpower. I am performing a spiritual X-ray on your weary heart right now. I see the exact places where the deep fractures run. I see the relationships that promised shelter but only handed you violent storms. You gave those people your purest love and they repaid you with empty words, leaving a massive scar that you still desperately try to hide. You constantly blame yourself for trusting them too much. You carry the shame of their bad decisions. Stop blaming your beautiful heart for the way broken people treated you. Your amazing capacity to love is not a weakness. It is a profound gift that the wrong people simply could not carry. You feel foolish for hoping things would get better, but your enduring loyalty was actually a beautiful reflection of my pure grace inside you. You did absolutely nothing wrong by loving them. You were simply loving with a pure intention. Let the heavy walls of defense fall down piece by piece today. You have spent years building this fortress to protect your fragile spirit. You quickly push people away before they can ever hurt you again. You intellectualize your deep feelings instead of actually processing them, because hiding behind these thick walls feels like the only way to survive the crushing disappointment. But this tall fortress is slowly suffocating your light. You are finally safe enough to step outside now. You do not have to perform perfectly for me. You do not need to clean up your messy thoughts today. I want the completely unfiltered and raw version of you. Bring me the version of yourself that is angry at the world and entirely tired of trying so hard to keep everyone else perfectly happy. Bring me your most bitter and painful disappointments. Bring me the absolute exhaustion that makes you want to quit. I know there are dark days when just getting out of bed is hard. Nobody claps for you when you manage to get dressed, but heaven clearly sees the quiet victories of your daily endurance. I am standing right beside you when you force yourself to eat a meal, and I am there when you softly whisper that you cannot do this anymore. I hear every single sigh that escapes your lips. I collect the quiet groans of your tired spirit. You are the resilient, silent endurer of your entire bloodline. You absorb the generational trauma so it finally stops with you. You willingly take the heavy hits so your precious children do not have to. It is a very noble sacrifice to make, but my beloved child, it was never my ultimate design for you to be permanently crushed by this immense weight. You were created to firmly break the toxic cycle. You were never meant to be buried underneath it. I am peeling back the final layer of your heavy protective mask. I see the hidden part that feels fundamentally unworthy of real love. I hear the tiny voice whispering that your best days are gone. I am shining a brilliant light into that dark corner of your mind to validate your fears and to permanently dismantle their toxic power over you. You are entirely seen and deeply understood by me. The heavy lifting is finally over for today. Rest here in the absolute certainty of my divine presence. Your hidden tears have literally shaken the very foundations of heaven. I am preparing to move massive mountains on your behalf. Because you finally stop pretending everything is fine, the real and lasting healing can finally begin now that your brokenness is fully exposed to my light. You are safe to just simply exist right here. Let the profound validation wash over your tired soul. You have looked at your broken heart and called it a massive failure. You think the intense pain you feel is a strict punishment for mistakes you made in the past. You look at the pieces of your life scattered on the floor, and you genuinely believe that heaven has turned its back on you. But I need you to open your spiritual eyes today. What you are experiencing right now is not an angry punishment. The shattering of your plans was entirely necessary. You are undergoing a profound and delicate spiritual surgery. When a surgeon cuts into the physical body, it causes temporary pain. But the ultimate goal is to completely remove a hidden sickness that could destroy you. I am doing the exact same thing to your weary soul. The sudden closing of that door was not a painful rejection. It was a divine rescue from a very dangerous trap. You cried because they walked away from you. You mourned the loss of a relationship you fought so hard to save. But I slammed that door shut to firmly protect your future. You could not see the hidden manipulation behind their empty words. You could not see how that specific path would eventually drain the light right out of you. I had to break your heart in the short term to save your destiny in the long term. Do not grieve over the empty spaces I have intentionally created in your life right now. I am simply clearing the ground to bring you into something much better. A farmer must tear up the hard soil before planting the new seeds. It looks incredibly violent and messy on the surface, but without that deep disruption, the seeds would never grow roots. Your current confusion is just the soil of your life being perfectly prepared. You have asked me repeatedly why the waiting season is taking so incredibly long. You see other people getting their blessings quickly. You watch them celebrate their victories, and you wonder if I have somehow forgotten your address. But my beloved child, your deep waiting is not a meaningless delay. It is my quiet guardianship over you. If I handed you the heavy blessing right now, it would completely crush your fragile spirit. A massive building requires a remarkably deep foundation to stand against the strong winds. I am using this quiet time to dig your roots deeper into the ground. I am building a sturdy foundation inside you that no storm will ever be able to shake. You thought the silence meant I was distant and angry, but a teacher is always perfectly quiet during a test. You are learning how to stand firmly in your true identity as a refined vessel. The fire is remarkably hot right now, but the flames are only burning away the toxic dependencies that kept you tied to the wrong people and places. Every single time you felt overlooked by the world, I was actually hiding you. I placed you in the shadows so the enemy could not easily find you. You called it absolute isolation and loneliness, but heaven calls it a heavily guarded sanctuary. You were hidden in the dark because a precious seed must be buried before it can finally bloom. Do not resent the quiet darkness of this current season. It is a sacred incubator for your immense spiritual growth. The frustration you feel is completely valid. You are allowed to feel entirely tired of waiting for the heavy storm to pass. But I need you to completely change the way you look at this temporary pain. It has a high purpose. When you look back at this exact moment, you will finally understand. You will see that the terrible heartbreak was actually your greatest deliverance. You will thank me for not answering the prayers you prayed in absolute desperation, because my vision for your future is so much bigger than the tiny box you were trying to fit yourself into. You are not a victim of cruel circumstances tossing you around. You are carefully held in the palm of my hand. The uncomfortable friction you feel is the polishing of your spirit. A diamond cannot shine beautifully without enduring immense pressure first. You are being perfectly polished for a massive assignment in the coming days. Stop fighting against the divine process taking place within you. When you resist the surgery, you only make the healing process much harder. Surrender the heavy pieces of your broken plans to me today. Let me take the sharp fragments of your past and build a beautiful mosaic. Your absolute worst days are being flipped into a masterpiece. The people who hurt you meant it for your absolute destruction. They wanted to see you fail miserably and fall apart, but I am taking their cruel intentions and using them to elevate your spiritual authority. Your deep pain is actively producing a heavy weight of glory inside you. You are becoming wiser and much stronger than before. Breathe in this powerful truth and let it settle in your mind. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. The delay is firmly protecting you. The closed doors are actively directing you. And the deep heartbreak is beautifully expanding your capacity to hold my grace. You are completely safe in this holy transition. You are not the first person to cry silently in the dark. Think about the story of Hannah. She carried a massive weight of sorrow, and despite her intense faithfulness, she felt entirely broken and deeply humiliated by the incredibly harsh people living around her. Her heart was completely shattered by circumstances she could not control. Year after year, she faced cruel mockery from someone who misunderstood her value. She was completely barren, her womb was closed. The intense shame she felt was absolutely crushing. She tried to smile and attend the yearly festivals like everyone else, but inside she was slowly dying from the unspoken grief that nobody in her family could ever truly fix. She felt utterly alone. One day she walked into the temple with a desperately heavy soul. She fell to her knees before the altar. The pain was simply too massive for normal words. So she wept in absolute silence while she poured out her deepest agony to heaven without making a single sound. Only her lips moved, and the high priest Eli watched her from a distance and judged her very harshly. He looked at her shaking body. He thought she was completely drunk. He saw her silent mouth. He completely misunderstood her profound spiritual agony. The cruel world often misinterprets the incredible depth of your silent suffering in the exact same careless way. They look at your tired face and quickly assume you are just being weak. But Hannah did not stop praying when the world judged her. She kept her focus entirely on heaven. She knew that human ears could not understand her complicated grief. She poured out her soul in a language that only the Creator could ever decipher. And heaven was paying incredibly close attention to every single unspoken word she prayed while she knelt on that floor. I heard the deafening scream of her silent tears. I saw the raw vulnerability of her shattered heart. The high priest only saw a broken woman, but I saw a fiercely devoted mother waiting for her miracle. I reached directly into her absolute despair and planted the beautiful seed of a mighty prophet named Samuel. I changed her life forever. Her desperate and silent weeping was not a sign of total defeat. It was the powerful birth of a generational blessing. My beloved child, your current situation is exactly like hers. You have been crying without making a single sound. You have been standing in the temple of your own suffering, while blind people wrongly judge your true character. You feel entirely unseen today. They see your quiet withdrawal. They call you completely antisocial. They see your extreme exhaustion. They label you as lazy. They do not realize you are fighting massive spiritual battles just to stay alive and protect your precious family. But I am not like the incredibly blind high priest. I do not judge your messy moments. I look directly at the heavy posture of your tired heart. I hear the loud prayers you pray. You simply cannot speak. Your chest tightens. The tears fall onto your pillow. I am actively listening to all of it because you do not need perfect words to get my absolute attention. Your quiet vulnerability is incredibly powerful. Just like I remembered Hannah in her darkest moment of despair, I am actively remembering you right now. The barren areas of your life are about to miraculously bear fruit. The painful seasons of quiet humiliation are coming to a very sudden end. I am taking the exact places where you felt incredibly empty and filling them with an overwhelming and massive abundance. You have endured the cruel mockery of the enemy. The dark forces thought your silent tears meant you were entirely defeated. They assumed your broken spirit would never rise again. But they made a massive mistake. Your quiet endurance was actually the perfect preparation for a divine turnaround that will completely shock everyone around you. Your victory is totally guaranteed. I am flipping the script on your hidden sorrow today. The tears you sowed in absolute secrecy will produce a very public harvest. Hannah walked out of that temple completely changed. She left her heavy burden at the altar. I want you to do the exact same thing right now. By dropping the massive weight of being completely misunderstood. Drop it all today. You no longer have to explain your deep pain. People simply refuse to listen. You do not have to prove your worth to anyone. I have already validated your silent struggles. The vindication you desperately need is coming directly from my throne because I am stepping in to defend you. Keep your eyes completely focused on me. Your story is being beautifully rewritten in the heavenly realms. The ending will not be a tragedy of quiet suffering. It will be a massive testament to my fierce faithfulness. You are stepping into a powerful season where all of your silent prayers will finally manifest as undeniable and incredibly beautiful miracles. Trust my divine timing today. Let the profound peace of heaven completely wash over your tired mind. You are not a forgotten casualty in this dark world. You are a fiercely loved and carefully protected child of heaven. The silence you hate is actually my protective shield. I am working entirely behind the scenes right now to orchestrate a beautiful and lasting deliverance for your weary family. Rest quietly in my capable hands. I will handle the rest. Your heart is incredibly fragile right now, like a beautiful piece of glass that has just been glued back together. You must be very careful with what you allow inside your mind today. The world is extremely loud. People will try to dump their heavy emotional garbage onto your tired shoulders, but you absolutely must refuse to carry it anymore. You are an empathetic overgiver by nature. You naturally absorb the deep pain of everyone standing in the same room. Your spirit acts like a massive sponge for their anxiety. And while your immense compassion is a beautiful gift from heaven, it becomes a deadly weapon when you do not protect your internal boundaries. You are utterly depleted. The enemy knows he cannot destroy your spirit completely, so he tries to slowly drain your energy through relentless overthinking. He sends people who constantly demand your time and your emotional labor. They text you with their endless crises. They expect you to drop everything to fix their broken lives. You must stop fixing them today. Listen to me very closely as I teach you this spiritual law. You are a highly refined vessel. You carry a precious anointing inside of you. If you leave the lid of your spirit completely open, every passing thief will casually reach in and steal your peace. Setting strict boundaries is not a selfish act. It is your holy responsibility. It is perfectly fine to tell someone no. You do not owe anyone a long explanation for protecting your own fragile sanity. When the phone rings and your chest tightens with immediate anxiety, you do not have to answer it. Let it go to voicemail. Let them learn how to carry their own heavy burdens for once. You are not their savior. Your mind is currently a battlefield of chaotic thoughts. When the dark whispers tell you that you are failing, you must quickly take control. Do not sit there and casually entertain the toxic lies of the enemy. You must verbally reject those terrifying thoughts the exact second they enter your tired brain. Speak the pure truth out loud. You feel incredibly guilty when you finally decide to rest. The hustle culture of this blind world has convinced you that sitting still is lazy, but heaven operates on a completely different frequency. Stillness is not an empty void. It is the sacred space where I actively repair the deep cellular damage caused by your intense stress. I want you to practice a very specific defense mechanism today. When a wave of crippling anxiety hits your chest, do not panic. Do not immediately try to figure out a logical solution. Just simply pause right there. Take 3 incredibly deep breaths and whisper my name. Shift your entire focus away from the raging storm. Look at me. You spend hours playing worst-case scenarios in your head. You try to predict every possible disaster so you can perfectly protect your family from pain. But this illusion of control is actually destroying your physical health. You cannot control the harsh winds. You can only control who you allow into your peaceful boat. Guard your gates. Close the heavy doors on relationships that constantly leave you feeling empty. You know exactly who I am talking about right now. They only call you when they desperately need something to consume. They never ask how your broken heart is actually doing. Severing those toxic ties is the very first step in your massive spiritual healing. Do not apologize for changing the access rules to your life. The people who genuinely love you will respect your new boundaries. The people who get violently angry about your boundaries are the exact ones who are maliciously taking advantage of your kindness. Let them walk away. Their sudden departure is my divine protection over you. Let your mind become as calm as a quiet morning lake. When you actively choose to stop absorbing the chaotic noise of the world, your spiritual ears become incredibly sharp. You will finally hear the gentle directions I am whispering to you. I have a perfectly mapped out escape route for your current problems, but you must get quiet. You have given away so much of your beautiful light. Now it is time to forcefully call all of your scattered energy back home. Gather the pieces of your fractured focus. Stop looking sideways at what other people are doing. Stop looking backward at the painful mistakes you cannot change. Look straight ahead into the brilliant light. The heavy armor of the world does not fit you anymore. You must learn how to fight these invisible battles using the quiet authority of heaven. You fight by resting securely in my profound promises. You win the brutal war by refusing to engage with the toxic drama. Your unbothered peace will become your greatest weapon against the dark. I am rebuilding your mental walls with unbreakable stones. From this day forward, you will not be an open dumping ground for the pain of the world. You are a deeply cherished child of heaven. You are allowed to be completely safe. You are allowed to fiercely protect the beautiful and quiet sanctuary I am building inside your healing heart. You constantly blame yourself for the endless string of failures in your life. You look in the mirror and think you are fundamentally flawed, but you are looking at your life through a completely physical lens, and you are entirely missing the hidden spiritual truth. You wonder why everything you touch suddenly falls apart despite your purest intentions. It is time to look deeper. There is a massive and unseen spiritual war raging around you right now. The sudden conflicts in your home are not random coincidences. The financial blocks that keep appearing out of nowhere are deliberately placed there. The darkness is actively coordinating a severe attack against your peace of mind because they see the massive light you carry. It is a very real battle. The enemy targets you because he sees the incredible anointing you carry inside. He knows you are destined to become a powerful cycle breaker for your family, and he is absolutely terrified of the generational chains you are going to permanently break with your newfound faith. That is exactly why he fights you with such violent aggression today. You are a massive threat. You thought you were just experiencing a very long streak of terrible luck. You assumed you were simply not smart enough or strong enough to succeed. But the relentless exhaustion you feel is the direct result of a calculated spiritual assault. The darkness desperately wants to drain all of your physical energy, so you will simply give up and completely surrender your beautiful destiny before you reach the finish line. Stop carrying the heavy guilt for things you absolutely could not control. The toxic people who betrayed you were heavily influenced by this unseen darkness. They were sent specifically to distract you from your ultimate divine purpose, and they successfully broke your heart because you were completely unaware of their true, malicious intentions. You did nothing wrong by trusting them. I am actively pulling back the heavy curtain so you can finally see the absolute truth. You are not a miserable failure. You are a highly guarded target because you carry an incredibly precious cargo. If your heart resonates with this truth, let your soul silently agree right now, because this profound realization is going to completely wash away your toxic self-doubt entirely. The enemy always fights the hardest right before you step into a massive breakthrough. The intense friction you are feeling right now is absolute proof that you are moving in the right direction. If you were truly defeated, the darkness would simply leave you alone, but your current struggle is the absolute proof of your undeniable spiritual value in my kingdom. I need you to completely stop blaming your beautiful heart for the chaos around you. It is incredibly important that you forgive yourself today. You did the absolute best you could with the limited vision you had at the time. Now I am opening your spiritual eyes so you can finally understand the complex battlefield you are walking on, and you will never again be fooled by these dark illusions. You are surrounded by powerful heavenly hosts who are actively fighting for you. The unseen forces of light heavily outnumber the dark shadows trying to scare you. You do not have to fight this exhausting war with your fragile human hands anymore, because I am stepping in to permanently dismantle the hidden traps they set for your tired feet. You can finally rest. Every single time you felt an unnatural wave of depression, it was an attack. The sudden urge to completely isolate yourself from the world was a lie whispered by the enemy. He wants you alone so he can easily manipulate your racing thoughts, while you sit in the dark believing that absolutely nobody truly cares about your intense pain. Break that isolation today. You are not going crazy, and you are definitely not losing your mind. The extreme emotional swings you experience are the turbulent waves of this unseen conflict. When you finally understand the true nature of the battle, the enemy instantly loses his greatest weapon against you, because his main power relies entirely on your continued ignorance of the spiritual realm. Stand firm in your holy identity as a fiercely protected child of heaven. The heavy chains of generational poverty and sickness are violently breaking right now. The darkness is panicking because your spiritual awakening is the exact thing they feared the most. You are finally waking up to your immense power after years of suffering, and the tables are rapidly turning in your favor, while the enemy watches in absolute terror. Your silent tears from last night were actually powerful weapons against the dark. When you refuse to become bitter despite the massive pain, you completely paralyze the enemy. Your enduring softness is a brilliant strategy of heaven. Keep your heart pure and completely free from the toxic poison of revenge or deep hatred, because pure love is your ultimate and unbreakable shield against the dark. I am giving you a brand new perspective on your incredibly painful past. The relentless struggles were actually rigorous training exercises for your spirit. You were learning how to wield the invisible sword of faith in the dark, and now you are heavily armed and completely prepared for the beautiful season of massive abundance approaching you very soon. Everything was divine preparation. Release the heavy burden of self-blame into my capable hands right now. You are completely absolved of the false guilt the enemy placed on your tired shoulders. Breathe in the absolute freedom of knowing you are fiercely defended by heaven. The invisible war is already won in the spiritual realm, and you just need to walk confidently into the brilliant light today without any lingering fear holding you back. Look at the painful betrayal you recently survived. The people who were supposed to protect you threw you into a deep pit. You felt completely shattered and entirely abandoned. But I want you to remember the story of Joseph today. His own brothers stripped him of his beautiful coat and sold him into slavery out of pure jealousy. He did absolutely nothing to deserve that brutal treatment. He was a young boy with a pure heart and a massive dream, but his family despised the incredible light they saw inside of him. They wanted to permanently extinguish his bright future, so they threw him away and completely erased his name from their lives. You know exactly how that devastating rejection feels. You have experienced that exact same venom from people you deeply loved. Joseph was dragged into a foreign land as a helpless slave. He served faithfully in the house of Potiphar despite his broken heart. He chose to work hard and keep his spirit completely pure, but even his fierce loyalty was quickly met with vicious lies and a terrible false accusation, and he was thrown into a dark prison for a crime he simply did not commit. He sat in the cold dungeon for years while heaven seemed entirely silent, and he watched other prisoners get released while he remained heavily chained in the dark. It looked like an absolute tragedy to the physical world. People probably thought he was severely cursed or paying for some hidden sin. But heaven was not punishing Joseph in that dirty prison. Heaven was actively preparing him. The prison was not a tomb for his destiny. It was a rigorous academy for his spiritual elevation, because I was using the intense pressure of the dungeon to forge a brilliant leader. If he had stayed safely at home, he would have remained a spoiled child. I had to let him lose everything so I could eventually give him the entire nation. Your current loss operates exactly the same way. You feel like you are sitting in a dark prison right now. You were entirely falsely accused by people who wanted to ruin your reputation, and you lost your precious position and your peace of mind because of their cruel lies. You watch other people prosper while your own life seems completely frozen in time. Do you honestly think I have abandoned you in this dark place? You frequently cry out for justice in the middle of the quiet night. But the story of Joseph did not end in the muddy dungeon. One day, the heavy prison doors suddenly swung wide open, and in a single moment he was brought before the most powerful king on the entire earth. He went from a forgotten prisoner to the prime minister of Egypt in just 24 hours. The divine vindication was swift and absolutely undeniable to everyone watching. The very same brothers who threw him into the pit eventually had to stand before him. They came begging for food during a massive famine, but Joseph did not use his massive power to destroy them with bitter revenge. His heart was so profoundly refined by the fire that he simply provided for them instead. His deep brokenness had transformed into a powerful and protective grace. I am preparing that exact same level of massive vindication for you right now. The people who gossiped about you and plotted your downfall will eventually see your undeniable elevation. I am not raising you up so you can mock their miserable failure. I am raising you up to show them the absolute and unbreakable power of my divine favor upon your life. They will be entirely speechless. Your reputation is being beautifully restored in the heavenly courts today. I am actively fighting the legal battles you could not fight for yourself, and every single lie spoken against your good name is being completely dismantled by my pure truth. You do not need to defend yourself on the chaotic internet or in bitter arguments. My holy silence is your greatest and most effective defense strategy. The years the locusts have eaten are going to be fully compensated. I keep a meticulous record of everything that was unjustly stolen from your tired hands, and for your deep shame you will soon receive a massive double portion of my glorious inheritance. You are about to step into a season of abundance that will make you completely forget the painful days. Joseph could not see the throne from the pit, but I saw his royal crown. Lift up your heavy head today and stop looking at the dirt. You are not going to die in this lonely season of betrayal. The people who abandoned you are simply not qualified to sit at the magnificent table I am preparing for you. Let them walk away without a fight. Their dramatic exit is making the necessary room for your massive blessing to finally arrive. Rest quietly in the absolute certainty of my divine justice. The scales are being perfectly balanced in your favor behind the invisible veil. Do not waste your precious energy planning a pathetic revenge, because vengeance completely belongs to me, and my divine timing is always flawless. Keep your heart pure, and prepare your hands to receive the overwhelming restitution coming your way very soon. You are holding a very dangerous poison in your hands today. You call it righteous anger. You feel completely justified in your deep resentment because they truly hurt you. They broke your trust and walked away without a single apology. But holding on to this bitter poison is actually destroying your beautiful spirit from the inside out while they sleep. I need you to drop the heavy stones of resentment right now. You want them to finally realize the massive pain they caused. You desperately want them to suffer the exact same way you suffered in the dark. But carrying this heavy vengeance is blocking your own blessings. You cannot receive my pure grace when your hands are tightly clenched in anger. Forgiveness does not mean their cruel actions were perfectly fine. It absolutely does not mean you have to invite them back into your peaceful life. Forgiving them is simply a spiritual release that frees your tired soul from their toxic grip. You are unlocking the heavy prison door and walking out into the bright light of your own freedom today. Every time you replay the painful memories, your heart cracks a little more. You rehearse the clever things you should have said to defend yourself. You imagine a future day where they crawl back to you begging for your mercy. But this mental movie is completely draining your precious energy and keeping you heavily chained to the painful past. I am inviting you to completely surrender your enemies to me. Step out of the exhausting judge seat right now. The courtroom of heaven is officially open, and I am the only righteous judge. Hand over the massive files of your betrayal directly to my throne, because I have seen the hidden motives and the dark lies they whispered behind your back. My divine justice is far more powerful than your earthly revenge. When you try to punish them yourself, you actually get in the way of my perfect timing. Step aside and let my heavenly hosts handle the people who maliciously attacked your character. They will have to answer to the creator of the universe for touching my fiercely protected child. I know your fragile ego wants immediate and loud vindication. You want the entire world to clearly see how deeply you were wronged. But my beloved child, your true worth is not validated by their public apology. Your value is permanently sealed by my holy blood. You do not need their miserable validation to step into your magnificent destiny today. Take a very deep breath and release the bitter hatred. Say out loud that you completely forgive them for the massive damage they caused. You might not feel any different in the exact moment you say the words, but the spiritual chains binding you to their toxic energy will immediately shatter in the unseen realm when you speak that powerful truth. You are a beautiful cycle breaker for your entire family. If you hold on to this deep bitterness, you will simply pass the heavy poison down to your children. You must stop the infection of hatred right here in this exact moment. Choose the difficult path of pure grace so your bloodline can walk in absolute freedom for generations to come. Let my soothing love wash over the deep wounds they left behind. I am pouring the oil of gladness over your tired and aching head. The painful scars will remain as a quiet testament to your incredible survival, but they will stop hurting. You will eventually look at those old wounds and only see the miraculous healing power of my divine presence. The enemy wanted you to become completely hard and cynical. He wanted you to look at the world with suspicious eyes and a totally closed heart. But your greatest victory is remaining incredibly soft in a world that tried to crush your spirit. Keep your beautiful heart wide open to my love, because that vulnerability is your ultimate strength. You are entirely safe from their malicious reach now. I have placed a heavy wall of fire around your mind and your family. They cannot cross the divine boundary I established over your life today. Let them walk their own miserable path while you step into the glorious light of your new season. You are completely free from their dark shadows. Rest in the absolute peace of my heavenly courtroom today. The gavel has already fallen in your favor, and the divine restitution is actively being processed. You can finally sleep soundly tonight without the heavy burden of planning your defense. Close your tired eyes and know that heaven is fiercely defending your honor while you peacefully rest. Your heart is completely clean and ready for the next massive blessing. By dropping the toxic bitterness, you have suddenly created a massive space for my abundant joy to enter. Get ready to receive a beautiful restoration that will make you entirely forget the deep pain of your past. Your profound obedience today has unlocked the ultimate miracle. Listen to me very closely right now. The spiritual atmosphere in your life is rapidly shifting. You can feel the heavy pressure building up in your chest today. The chaos around you seems to be getting completely out of control. But you must not let this sudden storm terrify your spirit, because the enemy is making his final desperate move against you. He knows exactly what heaven is about to release. The intense resistance you face is the ultimate proof of your approaching breakthrough. He desperately wants to exhaust your physical body so you will surrender right before the miracle happens. He constantly whispers that you are entirely too weak to finish this brutal race. But that is a pathetic lie designed to steal your joy. I need you to stand firmly on your feet today. You have survived the darkest valleys and the deepest betrayals. You did not walk this incredibly painful path just to collapse at the very end. The finish line is literally inches away from your tired feet, and you must gather every single ounce of strength you have left inside your weary bones to cross it. Do not let the spirit of distraction steal your focus now. The world will try to pull your attention away with loud noises and sudden emergencies. They want you looking at the chaotic waves instead of my calming presence. You must absolutely refuse to look away from me today, because if you lock your spiritual eyes onto my brilliant light, the darkness will instantly flee. The sudden anxiety you feel is not a mental breakdown. It is a holy alarm sounding off in your spirit. Your soul senses the massive shift taking place in the unseen realm right now. You are feeling the intense friction between your painful past and your glorious future, and this heavy pressure is simply the glorious sound of heavy generational chains violently breaking apart. You must prepare your mind for the ultimate healing. You cannot pour new wine into old and broken vessels. I am stretching your capacity to receive a massive blessing that will completely shock your earthly senses. Let go of every single limiting belief that tells you this miracle is impossible, because absolutely nothing is impossible when heaven directly intervenes in your daily life. You are the designated gatekeeper of your entire family. The enemy wants you to abandon your post in pure exhaustion. If you fall down, the heavy gates remain completely undefended. But I have placed a supernatural resilience inside your spirit today, and you will not break under this final wave of dark pressure because I am holding you up. Take a deep breath and brace yourself for the glory. The heavy clouds are finally breaking apart above your tired head. The silence of heaven is about to be shattered by a massive roar of divine justice. You have cried long enough in the lonely dark, and now you must wipe your face and stand up like the fierce warrior you were created to be. Do not be afraid of the massive transition happening right now. The ground shaking beneath your feet is simply the destruction of your old foundation. The toxic cycles of generational poverty and deep depression are finally losing their heavy grip on your life. The darkness is absolutely terrified of the authority you are about to step into, so they are throwing everything they have at you. Every single tear you shed is fueling this massive turnaround. The pain was simply the incredible price of this massive anointing. The people who loudly mocked your quiet faith are about to witness the undeniable power of my favor upon your life. Do not shrink back to make them feel comfortable, but stand tall and wear your beautiful scars with immense pride today. The ultimate healing is rushing toward you like a tidal wave. It will violently wash away the ashes of your broken dreams. It will completely restore the years that the locusts have stolen from your family. But you must be securely anchored in my truth to handle the overwhelming force of this massive restoration, because it will change your reality in an instant. Listen to the urgent rhythm of my beating heart. The time for endless waiting and crying is officially over. The heavenly court is completely assembled, and the heavy books are finally being opened in your favor. Prepare your tired hands to receive the overwhelming compensation for your silent suffering, because the long wait is finally finished and the reward is undeniably here. I am calling out the absolute best version of you right now. Rise from the ashes of your bitter disappointments. Let the fiery passion of my love consume every single doubt hiding in your mind. You are crossing the threshold into a brand new reality where my promises become your daily breath, and you must completely refuse to ever look back at that dark prison again. This is the exact moment everything permanently changes for you. The heavy spiritual gravity is rapidly shifting in your favor. The dark forces are furiously retreating from your borders because they cannot stand the blinding light radiating from your soul. You are finally ready to receive the highest decree of my healing grace, so open your weary heart and let the ultimate miracle begin right now. The courtroom of heaven is now fully open over your life. The heavy gavels have fallen, and the supreme judge of the universe is speaking your name today. Silence the noise of the world. Step into my majestic presence. Every single entity that has stolen your peace must now stand before my throne and answer for their crimes. The time of your suffering is over. Your divine vindication begins right now. Those who took advantage of your pure heart are hereby commanded to step back. The invisible systems that drained your finances and crushed your spirit are completely dismantled today. I mandate a massive double portion of restoration for everything that was unjustly taken from you in the dark. Your name is cleared in the heavenly realms. You are completely justified. The enemies who laughed at your pain will watch in absolute shock as I elevate you before their eyes. I issue a supreme decree to your shattered heart right now. Let every broken piece be permanently fused back together by the blazing fire of my holy love. The heavy trauma that kept you awake at night is completely erased. The bitter sting of rejection is washed away forever. I am replacing your intense exhaustion with a supernatural strength that the world cannot possibly comprehend or destroy. Your soul is fully restored. Take off those heavy garments of survival and constant sorrow. You are no longer an abandoned battlefield where the enemy comes to wage his cruel wars. You are not a helpless victim of your tragic past. You are a beautifully guarded fortress. The dark shadows have lost their legal right to torment your mind because my holy presence has completely paid your massive debt. Stand up and claim your glorious freedom today. Today I place upon your tired shoulders the royal mantle of a cycle breaker. The dark chains of poverty and deep depression that bound your family for generations stop right here. They die with you. You are the chosen spark that ignites a massive generational blessing. Rise as the fierce captain of this new journey. Your bloodline is permanently changed because you simply refuse to give up in the dark. You are no longer standing at the threshold as a simple observer. You are officially being entrusted with the heavy keys to my kingdom. I crown you as a powerful gatekeeper over your home. Whatever you bind on this earth will be immediately bound in heaven, and whatever toxic presence you cast out will never be allowed to return. You carry my supreme authority. Speak your commands with absolute boldness. Step forward as the rightful heir to my greatest promises. The season of begging for bread and searching for scraps is permanently finished. I am unlocking the heavy vaults of heaven to pour an abundant provision directly into your hands. You will not lack any good thing. You will lend to many and borrow from absolutely no one. Your harvest is massive and entirely guaranteed by my spoken word. Every foul spirit of delay and confusion must immediately flee from your presence. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere will rapidly shift. The darkness will tremble at the brilliant light shining from your restored spirit. You are untouchable. You are invincible, not by your human strength, but by my reigning presence residing deep within your chest. The brutal war is officially won. The deep shame of your past mistakes is completely obliterated today. When I look at you, I only see my perfect and magnificent creation. Do not let anyone bring up a history that heaven has already forgiven and entirely forgotten. You are washed completely clean. Your slate is totally empty. Walk with your head held incredibly high, because you carry the majestic seal of the Creator of the universe. The intense loneliness that haunted your darkest nights is completely banished from your home. I am bringing divine connections and fiercely loyal friends into your close circle. You will never again have to beg for basic human affection or fight to be deeply understood. You are highly favored. I am surrounding you with a mighty community that will protect your heart and fiercely defend your newly established boundaries. You are a massive pillar of light in a very dark world. The people who once pitied your struggles will soon come to you asking for spiritual guidance. Your scars are now beautiful medals of honor. They prove that you survived the hottest fire and came out shining brighter than pure gold. No weapon formed against you will ever prosper. This is my absolute decree. You used to absorb the heavy pain of the world until you were completely empty and utterly broken. But today I command that you will only overflow with my endless and majestic joy. You will heal others simply by walking into the room with your restored presence. The heavy burden is entirely lifted off your chest. You are no longer the tired servant. You are the reigning heir. The days of weeping silently in the dark are totally behind you. A vibrant season of loud joy and magnificent celebration is actively rushing into your life right now. Every single tear you sowed in painful agony is now blooming into a massive miracle of grace. Receive this mighty wind of change. Let it fill your empty lungs. You are crossing the threshold of victory today. The gavel strikes one final time to seal your magnificent destiny. The heavenly records now show that you are fully restored and abundantly blessed. Nobody can reverse what I have established over your life today. The doors of massive opportunity are completely blown open. Walk boldly into your new kingdom. You are my greatest masterpiece, and your brilliant reign begins right now. Let the heavy adrenaline finally leave your tired body. The fierce battle has been fought, and the magnificent victory is entirely yours today. You can safely lower your heavy shield now. The spiritual enemies who chased you through the dark valleys have been completely scattered by my blinding light. Take a very deep and slow breath. You are finally safe. You do not need to stay in survival mode anymore. The exhausting days of constantly looking over your shoulder are permanently finished. Unclench your tight fists and let the invisible weapons fall to the solid ground. You have carried the heavy sword for way too long. It is time for your weary soul to experience profound and uninterrupted rest. I am leading you beside the very still waters right now. Let my gentle peace wash over your racing mind like a cool and refreshing river. The loud alarms that constantly rang in your head are completely silenced. The chaotic storms have suddenly obeyed my supreme command to be still, and the beautiful sun is finally breaking through the dark clouds above you. Release your tight grip on the painful past. You do not have to figure out how tomorrow will perfectly unfold because I have already paved the clear path ahead of you. Rest your heavy head on my chest today. Feel the steady and calming rhythm of my eternal heartbeat. I am wrapping my protective arms completely around your fragile and healing spirit. You are profoundly cherished and entirely protected in this sacred space. There is absolutely nothing left for you to aggressively prove to the blind world. The heavy pressure to constantly perform and fix everything is entirely lifted off your shoulders today. You can simply exist right here in the warm glow of my unconditional and perfect love. You are my beautifully refined vessel. You are the brave cycle breaker who stood incredibly firm when the massive winds tried to completely destroy your family. But even the bravest warriors must eventually sit down to heal their deep wounds. Drink from the overflowing cup of grace I have specifically prepared for you right here in the quiet wilderness. The heavy darkness has completely lost its terrible grip on your mind. You will sleep with a profound sweetness tonight because my angels are heavily guarding your doors. Do not let any lingering fear try to sneak back into your peaceful sanctuary. The massive shift has already occurred in the spiritual realm, and your new reality of pure abundance is officially beginning. Heaven has firmly established this glorious decree over your life today, but my beloved child, heaven always requires your earthly participation to securely lock the blessing into place. You must make a physical move to permanently seal this spiritual covenant. A prophetic action in the physical realm firmly solidifies the massive shift that just happened in your spirit. The spiritual clock is actively striking right now. The enemy desperately wants you to pause and completely ignore this exact moment. He will try to convince you to simply close this message and go back to your busy day. He wants you to delay your obedience because he knows that your immediate action will permanently break his lingering curses. Do not let him win today. Procrastination is his favorite weapon against your incoming miracle. He wants you to hesitate just long enough for the heavenly window to slowly close. But heaven urgently requires your absolute obedience today. You must take this physical step of faith right now to completely seal the heavy doors against his toxic influence. Do not wait for a better time. Break the heavy silence right now. Let your fingers physically write down a bold declaration of your new freedom. Go to the comments and type, "I receive my massive restoration today." You are not writing this to impress anyone on the internet. You are typing those exact words as a powerful and legally binding signature in the supreme courtroom of heaven. Go ahead and like this message right now. Do it not as a shallow outward gesture, but as a permanent physical sign that your soul completely agrees with my heavenly decree. When you share this specific truth with someone else, you instantly become a powerful channel through which my miracles can rapidly flow into their broken homes. Spread this pure light today. Do not let tomorrow steal what you can permanently conquer today. Take this incredibly simple step of faith before the heavy distractions of the world pull your mind away. The divine blueprint has been beautifully laid out before you, and now you must physically step into the promised land. Secure your massive blessing right now by making your bold declaration. The window of grace is wide open, but you must choose to walk through it. Your immediate physical response is the heavy hammer that finally shatters the chains of your delay. Leave your permanent mark on this message today. Show the defeated darkness that you fully accept your royal identity, and you will never again settle for their miserable lies. Let every heavy burden completely slide off your shoulders now. Let your tired heart finally settle like incredibly still waters after a violent wind has ceased. You no longer have to fight the brutal battles that completely belong to me. Take a very deep breath. Release your extremely tight grip on tomorrow. Step into the living current of my grace. You are completely safe inside this newly established sanctuary. I go before you to clear the path, and I dwell deeply within you to provide unending strength for the days ahead. I permanently seal this glorious promise over your fragile life forever. The heavy yoke of your past is shattered, because your beautiful spirit is totally free from the dark shadows that chased you. Know this undeniable truth today. You are not merely an audience drifting aimlessly through the chaotic internet because you are a fiercely chosen vessel. I have specifically appointed you to live daily in the powerful presence of my living word. You are the cycle breaker your family desperately needed, and you are the ultimate gatekeeper of their total peace. Do not walk away from this holy encounter and simply forget what was established here. The enemy hopes you will slowly drift back into your old and terrifying anxiety, but you must actively anchor yourself to this divine frequency. Subscribe to this channel right now as a powerful spiritual act. Turn on the notifications to keep your heavy gates locked. When you choose to subscribe, you are not just following a page. You are intentionally building a daily shield of protection around your healing mind. You are telling the defeated darkness that you will never again walk into the battlefield without my voice guiding you. Stay closely connected to this massive flow of abundance and keep your spirit completely fed. Let us seal this eternal covenant with a quiet prayer of absolute surrender. Close your tired eyes for just one more moment. Whisper silently that you completely give me your massive fears. Hand over your deepest insecurities and your painful doubts. You do not have to carry a single ounce of that toxic weight into your beautiful tomorrow. It is finished. I take your heavy ashes and I give you my magnificent crown of beauty in return. I take your deep exhaustion and I replace it with a soaring energy that will completely baffle your enemies. You are stepping into a profound season of unbothered peace. The fierce storms may continue to rage outside your windows, but your house is built firmly on the solid rock. Walk softly, but carry the massive authority I just gave you. When you speak to the mountains blocking your path, they will instantly move. When you pray for your loved ones, heaven will immediately dispatch armies to their exact location. You are walking in a brand new dimension of my supreme favor. Absolutely nothing can stop what I have started today. I am smiling over your restored life right now. The angels are actively rejoicing because the lost child has finally realized their true royal identity. You are the rightful heir to my greatest promises, and everything I have is now completely available to you. Just simply ask and the heavy doors will swing wide open, because if you seek my face, you will always find my light. The massive transition is now complete. The spiritual surgery is totally finished and your heart is beating with a brand new rhythm of pure joy. Go forward into your day with your head held incredibly high. You are deeply loved, you are heavily protected, and you are permanently sealed by my Holy Spirit. The ultimate victory is beautifully yours. Do not let anyone ever make you doubt the massive miracle that just happened inside your soul today. When the old familiar triggers try to rise up tomorrow, you must firmly remind them of this exact moment. You are not the same broken person who cried in the dark last night. That exhausted version of you was completely buried, and a magnificent warrior just woke up. Keep your eyes totally fixed on the beautiful horizon I am painting for you. The colors of your new season will be incredibly vibrant and completely undeniable to everyone around you. Every single day will bring a fresh wave of my tender mercies to wash away any lingering doubt. You will look back at this painful chapter, and you will only see my massive hand guiding your fragile steps. Remember to guard your precious peace at all costs. The world will always be loud and incredibly demanding, but you hold the ultimate key to the quiet room inside your soul. Retreat into that holy silence whenever you feel the heavy pressure trying to return. I will always be waiting right there to hold you and gently whisper the pure truth over your life. The Supreme Court of Heaven is now officially adjourned. Your magnificent case is permanently closed, and the massive payout is on its way to your hands. Rest well, my beloved child. You have survived the absolute worst. The glorious best is finally unfolding right before your eyes. Stay planted in my living word. May my eternal grace be with you forever. Amen.